Meta's Mark Zuckerberg throwing a little shade at Apple CEO Tim Cook.
Tim's had a bad week. I'm not going to pile on. No, but Sundar's cool. I like Sundar.
Joining us now with more is Steve Kovach. Long brewing, I guess.
I mean, this is nothing new from Mark Zuckerberg. Let's explain what's going on here, because this all actually ties together. So what Mark Zuckerberg was just referring to here was that Epic Games case that Apple, the court ruling last week that said Apple had to allow payments outside the App Store. Apple, by the way, last night filed a request to stay the injunction right now, saying it's, this is an illegal thing, that the original injunction was too broad, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see how that goes through. We'll see if the court allows that injunction as an appeal goes through. No mention about these perjury allegations or anything like that. But look, that's one threat to Apple's business. The other thing that's going on here is what we learned yesterday from Apple's head of services, Eddy Cue, testifying in that Alphabet monopoly trial, which it lost. They're trying to figure out the punishment for this. And one of the potential options is splitting up this agreement between Google and Apple, in which Google gets to be the default search engine on Apple devices. Obviously, huge risk for services. Eddy Cue actually said this keeps him up at night. This is a scary thing that could happen because it's up to 1/5 of Apple's $100 billion annual services business are at risk here. It's basically free money, a huge profit center for Apple. And he basically said that what set shares down of Alphabet yesterday was that searches fell in the month of April on iOS. Now, Google kind of pushed back at that last night, saying actually searches are up if you count other things like its individual apps and so forth. But this really played into the narrative of this existential threat facing Google, which is artificial intelligence, this idea that people are going to chatbots like ChatGPT and Anthropic and Perplexity to do their searches more than Google. And that really played into this theme that sent shares really falling. We're seeing a little bit of an uplift today, but this is a huge thing because we talk about this so much. Google has its work cut out for it to really prove that it can meet this AI moment. Right now, it's doing those Gemini overviews. It hasn't really been able to monetize that, but the search experience hasn't changed in the same way that we're seeing from these other players. So, guys, we're seeing this real fear play out. In a couple weeks, we're going to get Google I/O. That's the developers conference that Google holds every year. Maybe they have some other ideas here, but I don't know about you guys, but anecdotally, I find myself using Perplexity and ChatGPT more and more for my searches. I only use Google for a specific website.
I use all of them kind of combining together. But if we're doing this and we're the older people, the kids aren't doing any of that. So this is the new development of how things are going about. The threat to Google is huge.
Right.
The threat to Apple is huge, too. And maybe the answer is, they've always been able to not have to invest in these things themselves and get somebody else to pay them to put theirs front and center.
Exactly.
You got to not only not get the payments anymore from somebody, you better figure out how you're going to offer them.
And that's what, if this gets blown up, and if the remedy comes down from the court here saying, Apple and Google, you can't have this partnership anymore, where does that put Apple? It can build its own search engine, find another partner, but no other partner has the money that Google has to just pay.
The court may not let them pay you.
And they may not let that happen anyway. And so you heard Eddy Cue yesterday say they're looking at a number of AI alternatives that they'll integrate as options into Safari search that he mentioned by name. He mentioned Perplexity and Anthropic as two examples that they might eventually incorporate. He also said they're not good enough yet. They're not as good as Google. But he said,
what's the timeline?
He said in 10 years, also in this testimony, we may not be buying iPhones because AI is going to take over so much of this. Maybe we wear glasses and there's all this intelligence built in there.
Just stick it straight into our brains.
Exactly.
Well, look, I mean, if you look at what Sam Altman's doing with Johnny Ive, for example.
Potential device.
They're talking about doing their own device that might not have any software on it, that might just be a straight...
Or it might be like an AirPod, kind of like the movie Her, right? You have a little AirPod, you're talking to your assistant.
Oh, he's obsessed with Her.
Right? You always have a screen.
You still need a screen. I mean, obviously, if you want to watch a video or something, you need a screen. But for the idea is, for most of it, you have an assistant. And that's what Eddy Cue kind of hinted at. And by the way, maybe it's not a screen. Maybe it's glasses like this.
Oh, my God. Maybe it's a Neuralink and you don't need a screen.
Or that's coming.
Yep.
Yeah. You're all in on Neuralink, I think.
I love what it's doing for health.
For health.
For health.
Yeah.
I don't want to implant it.
There's a guy
I don't have
with
to look at my screen.
Right. Exactly.
But I do love what Neuralink is.
Can't
doing.
move or feet. So that's the only way.
And they've had some successful trials already.
Yeah.
That's
unbelievable.
That's a big thing. But yeah, this is big. This could be the moment we look back in a few years, say this was that crystallizing moment that search really changed the traditional blue links, et cetera.
What year was it that Google first came about? When were Sergey and Larry in college working on this?
Oh, like late 90s or yeah.
I guess so it's due, 30 years.
Yeah, it's due for a big paradigm shift. And you talk to anyone in Silicon Valley, Sam Altman included, they'll tell you this is coming. This is going to be the new. I mean, this is what Microsoft is betting its entire company on right now and spending enormous amounts of money because they really do think this is the next platform. Microsoft even said we can eat into search. Google search dominance. That didn't happen, but
Bing.
Bing, yeah.